How many times have you been to a spectacular location and wondered what's behind that garden wall? Join us this week as GardenSMART unlocks 2 garden gates in Maui, Hawaii.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs. Our goal is to leave you free to just enjoy your garden. Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs can be found at local garden centers across the country.
Power Planter's garden drill augers are designed to help you tackle the digging jobs in your garden or yard. Dig through hard soil to assist in planting trees, shrubs, and annuals. Power Planter's heavy-duty augers, made for professional landscapers and home gardeners alike.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
When people think of Maui, they think of resorts, and it's no wonder. Maui was voted best island in the world for 16 consecutive years. But there's a lot more to it than just resorts. A population of about 120,000 and 60,000 housing units. And like all cities, it has a mayor. We're honored to have the mayor of Maui, Charmaine Tavares, here on GardenSMART. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Well, aloha and welcome.
Thank you very much. What is it that sets Maui apart from every other place in the world?
Well, I think, like you mentioned, it's more than our resorts. I think when people come to a place, they want to learn more about the place they're in. Maui offers a natural beauty, resources, and the people. And that's what makes Maui so unique and special.
I understand there's a lot of different types of people here, a lot of cultural diversity.
Yes, there is. And I think that's what makes us so unique and special. Back when they were starting plantations here in the Hawaiian Islands as a whole, but particularly on Maui, people had to come to work on those plantations. And so they brought what's called contract laborers over from various countries. So like from the Philippines, Japan, Portugal, China. So we had all of these folks coming in waves to come and work on the plantations and build the communities that we kind of know today. And it's very special because they brought with them all of their parts of their culture. So we had mostly food was the most popular thing. The food, art, music, cultural traditions, and we get to celebrate those all throughout the year. We have festivals going on, and folks learn how to work together, I think, better because of this diversity. They learn from each other. They have to work side by side toward a common goal, so to speak. So we have actually, I think, set the example for the world of how various cultures can get together, get along, and work toward a common goal.
In fact, I've often heard Maui referred to as a living museum.
Yes, it is. Each of these cultures that has come here has maintained their uniqueness, and they celebrate their uniqueness and share their cultures with others through all of these festivals that happen throughout the year. You'll see the clothing, the costumes, the dance, the food, the music, everything. And so it is a living museum. Every person in that event is part of this living museum, and it's exciting.
Well, incredible beauty.
Yes.
All this cultural diversity sounds like an incredible place to live.
It is an incredible place to live, and because this island's formed by 2 volcanoes, and it formed through erosion, the central plain, which you see behind us. This is why Maui is called the Valley Isle, because of that valley, that huge valley that's formed there. And because it's so different in temperature from the valley to the mountains, people, when they build their homes, build according to what the resources around them or what they want to capture. So we have a variety of diverse, really diverse architecture from the mountains to the ocean.
Sure.
And you know, you'll get a chance to see some of those and really start to appreciate, yes, there are people that live here, you know, 120,000, and they're around somewhere, and they are all living in different types of homes. So it's not just like, you know, one box after another that looks exactly the same.
And we're going to see some really neat homes today.
Yes, that's what I understand. That's great.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, and welcome again, and mahalo. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. There are many beautiful homes here in Maui, but rarely do you get to go behind the gate to see what's going on. Well, that's not the case today. We're with Hunton Conrad, and he's a landscape designer, and he's going to show us some beautiful homes. Hunton, we are so excited to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Richard.
Thank you. How'd you get started?
As a child, I was very interested in plants, and I grew up here, so I liked playing with the plants that grew here, and I would go out and harvest them in nature and then bring them and then arrange them in my parents' gardens.
Great. So you've been doing this your entire life.
Yeah, a long time.
How about after that?
Well, then I professionally got started as doing landscape design and architectural design, and that led me into be able to do beautiful gardens like this one here.
Do you have a philosophy that really sets what you do apart?
Yes, I think so. I feel that blocking in a garden is as important as the walls in architecture, where how you shape a garden is really the plants you use and how you stack them up near each other and away from each other. So the framing of a garden is more important to me than the species that are planted in it or even the color that's in it. Color is more like an accent, like Jimmy's on an ice cream.
Well said. Many times a house of this size and a garden of this size has a grand, overpowering entrance, but this one's pretty simple.
And that was actually by design. I like gardens to unfold, and so I like to build mystery and have the surprises come later. And so I want it to be interesting, but at the same time, I want it to be unfolding and revealing as time goes on, or the stroll through the garden goes on.
And that makes sense because as we approach, you can't even see the house from here.
No, and that was also by design because I really wanted the house to be revealed at the end of the drive as opposed to seeing it as you drove up to it. And that was purposeful in this particular garden.
Yeah, it creates a real sense of anticipation and interest.
Yeah, where are we going?
Yeah, I could really see as we came up the road that the garden started to reveal itself. Now the entrance though was very cozy, it was very intimate. But then as we come around here, wow, what an incredible view.
Yes, we're very fortunate here on Maui to have such a spectacular view on the slopes of Haleakala. We're looking down at the coast. There's what they call the isthmus, and those are the West Maui Mountains over there, and we've Galanai and other islands, Molokai over there. So we're very fortunate to have such a beautiful backdrop for such an exciting garden.
But you've got a lot of interesting spaces here in the garden itself.
Yes, well this is a large garden. It's 5 acres and it's at 2,800 foot elevation up on the slopes of Haleakala. So in order to make a garden interesting and unfold, I create what I call pocket gardens, where there are little gardens within the larger frame of the large garden.
I'm dying to see them. Let's go. Hunton, this is the best looking infinity pool I've ever seen.
Well, thank you, Richard. You know, I really wanted the pool to feel like it was part of the garden. And so I used minimum paving around the pool, and I really exaggerated the plants that are around the swimming pool to make that more of a feature of the garden than the patio furniture around it.
Sure. I love the separation using the turf and so forth.
Oh, well, thank you. I also really concentrated on having some plants that brought that copper roof that's in this property down into the garden. So the red fountain grass that you see behind us is intentional, and then sweeping around through the bromeliads, which are a tropical plant, and they're also a cousin of the pineapple, which we're all familiar with. And then how the infinity pool actually looks like it's overflowing into the protea garden, to me really makes those flowers pop.
Yeah, it's almost like a villa rather than the pool being part of the house.
Yeah, I think it's intended to feel like almost a separate garden or a separate room near the house itself.
It really works.
Oh, thank you. Here we are in the shade garden. We just came across the lawns and the open space of the rolling lawns of this estate, and now we're in an island within the island of the estate itself.
Love the way that we've gone from a very manicured, cared for area to a woodsy space.
Yeah, and that was really designed contrivingly so, because what we did was we tried to make this feel like it was a piece of nature that was left here, and then the garden was built around it. And so that natural wild feeling was intended.
There's a real sense of interconnection here between this space and some of the others.
Well, one of the things that are accomplishing that is that this red creeping fescue that's the ground cover here is the ground cover that ties this whole garden together. It's the one that I've used throughout the entire garden as a frame, so that when you go from one space or one pocket garden to another, you don't feel like you're completely stepping into from a pink room to a blue room. There's a thread that connects it.
A sense of informal familiarity, if
Yeah.
that's a way to say it.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't feel like you've been jolted into a new environment, but you've been eased into a new environment.
Now the plants really work well here.
One of the reasons is that obviously it's a shade garden, and so we pick plants that grow well in the shade. But we tried to do a very light canopy with these California peppers, and then the red fescue is really the background, and that has a nice rippling effect. It almost feels like water in itself.
I'll bet when the wind blows, it feels real restful as well.
It does, it really works. And we block the bushes into groups as opposed to just spreading them out evenly throughout this space in order to create what I call negative space. And that does two things. It leads your eye from this pocket garden into another space, for instance, the bamboo grove that's below us here. And then it also allows the bushes and the plants that are within the shade garden to actually pop and be more dramatic by the contrast of the negative space around them.
Wow, the shade, the fine textures, the cool colors. My heartbeat's just slowing down as I walk through here.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Well, Richard, I wanted to bring you by the blue garden. You got a glimpse of it when you were up at the house, and so I wanted to show you close up what the scale of these blue agaves can be. Both the color and the scale really draws your eye and brings you down to this corner of the garden. So it's a way of almost forcing you to take a long stroll through the garden, and you discover other things on your way here. But this is the signal post at the end that draws your eye from the beginning.
Works so well. A great use of form and texture.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Well, I bet this is the Japanese garden. It's a beautiful area.
Well, thanks, you got it. It's definitely the Japanese garden. It's a very simple space. It's not intended to be an elaborate Japanese garden. Many of us try to do a Japanese garden and we get a little bit carried away with the ornamentation. This was intended to be extremely simple. We have the stone lanterns leading you into the garden. We have a Buddha behind me here, and then we have a granite bowl with bamboo spout trickling water into it, just to give you that little bit of sound of water and just add to that quiet, contemplative feel. And then the rustle of the bamboo, which is surrounding us, also adds to that contemplation.
And it's real close to the house as well.
Yes, the owner wanted it something close to the house to be able to go and contemplate briefly while he took breaks from his high-stress job.
I love the way that it's enclosed, but it's still in a very large open area.
Yes, it's intended to close you off visually and make it feel almost like a separate room, but at the same time with the peekaboos through the stalks of the blowpipe bamboo allows you to get a glimpse of the skyline and what's going on outside. So when you're ready to leave the garden, it actually invites you out.
A wonderful introverted space in a very extroverted area.
Thank you.
Wow, Hunt, that was impressive. Cannot wait to see the other garden you've designed.
Let's go. All right, Richard, well, here we are. This is the second place. And as you can see, it's a very different garden than the garden that we looked up country. And it's also very different in size.
Yeah.
That was a 5-acre parcel. This is a half-acre. So this is much more like, you know, the kind of places that most of us live in.
Sure. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac. I almost didn't realize it was a residence.
Yeah, well, we tried to do something to be understated and at the same time let you know you have a sense of arrival, but not overdo it.
I love the use of a bit of formality here, a bit of symmetry, but at the same time, not really overdone.
Well, thank you. Again, my style is to try to let the secrets unfold themselves as opposed to present it all in front.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
I'm very impressed with the fact that this is so private. We're right in the middle of a subdivision, yet I feel like I'm out by myself.
Well, we're lucky in the sense that we had the opportunity to block out the street from this piece of property and then use the size of the property as big open space. So it gives you a sense of privacy at the same time that you feel very open and out in the air, especially with a swimming pool right here. You want to be in the sun.
Mm-hmm. Your choice of plant material is very effective in terms of creating this screen.
Well, thank you. I mean, one of the things that we did here was the monkey pod trees that are over here are quite tall, but rather than really try to block out the entire borrowed view of the trees on the other properties, we put in a hedge of Mingarelias, which only grow to about 6 feet.
Sure.
And those are 13 years old, and they've been that size for a long time. So it allows us to bring light and a sense of space in at the same time, not close it up.
And that, unfortunately, a lot of homeowners that have small pieces of property that want to screen plant 30, 40, 50-foot specimens and then feel like they're in a closet.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. And in this case, we really tried to allow the air to pass through this property.
Tell me about some other plants you've used.
Well, here we have a dwarf variety of heliconia, which is a true tropical. In this particular variety is called parakeet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have bougainvillea surrounding the property. We have a clump of it right behind me here. And the variety is called Miss Manila, and it's a beautiful orange, golden, pink color. So it's got 3 different colors all in one flower, which is a very popular version of variety here in Hawaii.
And it's a shrub that's going to flower year-round, so you don't really have to replant it a lot.
Oh no, that has been here for 13 years and it probably has another 13 to go.
Great. What are those blue flowers over there?
Those are blue days, and that is a perennial ground cover.
Mm-hmm. And that term perennial can really be confusing because it means lives more than 2 years, but I guess it could be a very short-lived perennial as well.
Yes, here in Hawaii it lasts about 3 years. And then of course, Richard, what garden isn't really complete in Hawaii, especially in a lower elevation where it's a tropical garden to begin with, without having coconut palms? It really gives you a sense of place that we are in Hawaii, and coconuts are the symbol of paradise.
Mm-hmm. And a strong vertical element to set off all the rest of the plants.
Agreed.
This lower part of the garden is striking. It's beautiful, but it also looks like it's pretty productive as well.
Yes, it is. This is the orchard. Now, it isn't laid out like an orchard, but it is the orchard. And the intention here was to really have the owner be able to stroll through their garden on a daily basis and watch and see as their fruit ripens, as opposed to knowing the day it's ripe and coming in here with a formal harvester and harvesting. So it's a garden and it's an orchard.
No reason to put trees or fruit-bearing plants in straight rows unless you're harvesting with a tractor, it sounds like.
Exactly, because this is a personal place, not a commercial.
Well, I'm a big fan of sustainable landscaping, and I think you've hit on a very important part. Every plant in the garden needs to have a function, have a purpose. It can be beautiful as well, but that's a real key ingredient to a sustainable design.
Absolutely.
Tell me about some of the fruit trees you've got here. They look real healthy. That one looks like a mango?
That is a mango. It's a Hayden mango. And that particular mango tree blew down last winter in a storm, and it was such a good bearer that we decided to try to save it. And this spring season was the best season it had ever had, so we're very happy that we were able to save it. It looks a little funny, but it really bears great fruit.
Sometimes a little stress on a plant like that actually causes it to bear more fruit.
Yes, that's exactly what happened in this case.
What else have you got?
We have some papayas. And right down here we have a clump of papayas, and we have 2 little baby ones and a mature one, so we always try to keep them staging because papayas only last a few years.
And that's a good example of a very productive plant that at this point in its life anyways, it's not that great looking.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons it's down here in the lower garden with the rest of the fruit, because sometimes fruit trees aren't always good looking, but they're always good eating.
Mm-hmm. What else have you got?
Well, we have star fruit. I have one of them right here in my hand. An unusual fruit, very, very favorite of the local people here in Hawaii. And it's just a really delicious, sweet, but kind of tangy at the same time.
Why is it called star fruit?
The reason is that you can notice that it has 6 points, and when you slice it up, and set it on a plate, it looks like a star.
And you've got a lot of different types of citrus here as well.
Yes, we have 5 different varieties. Right now we've got the tangerines going off. It's wintertime here in Hawaii, and they produce all through the winter, so it's really nice because we get different kinds of citrus at different times of the year.
Smart idea, a productive garden that gives us something every month out of
Every
the year.
season.
And you've also got some plants that don't produce edible fruit, but do some other things for the family.
Yes, we have some plumeria trees, and plumeria is a traditional lei-making flower in Hawaii. And in Hawaii, you get a lei when you arrive here, and a lei is a flower garland. So the flower garlands can be made right here in the garden and then taken to the airport and given to their friends when they arrive.
Wow, fantastic. A lot of the plants in this garden may not do well in your area, but if you're looking for colorful new plant ideas, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.tv. Hutton, you were involved in the garden design, I can see, but you were also involved in the architecture as well.
Yes, I designed this building.
Well, I love the way you've created all these different spaces. We've got this really back area here, very cozy and intimate, semi-opened area still covered, but then as we move into this space, what would you call it, dappled shade?
Exactly.
Half sun, half shade area, very perfect for a lot of different activities. But then once we get to the pool, this works really well. This is an open, full sun area as well.
Yeah, and it was really intended to give the owner several different choices of places to hang out at different times of the day. Because, you know, it gets sunny and then it gets shady, and it could be actually a little squall could blow through. And so you want to be able to enjoy that indoor-outdoor atmosphere, but be able to sit in an environment that keeps you comfortable throughout the day.
Well, especially here in Hawaii, you want to be outside probably 365 days a year.
You do.
Well, and that's a good point for a lot of our viewers. There are times in the year when they want to bring a little of the outdoors in and a little of the indoors out, and with a space like this, you could do that.
Absolutely. I think it would work very well in different parts of the country to extend the part of the year that you can have this kind of experience. So you might not be completely outside, but at the same time, you have the ability to feel like you're partially outside.
Hutton, this is a very different place. Where are we now?
We're in the same garden, but we're in a little secret part of the garden, and we're sitting underneath a traditional Hawaiian hale. Hale is a word that means house in Hawaiian. And so this building was built to emulate the traditional Hawaiian architecture. The floor, the pebbles that are on the floor are exactly what the Hawaiians would have had on the floor of their homes. The thatch on the roof and the way the structure is made out of ohia posts, all very traditionally done.
I love a garden that has a destination, if you will. And this one's great and also has some historical value as well.
Definitely. To me, we are here in Hawaii, so let's try to emulate, even though we can't live in a piece of architecture that actually looks like this. So let's emulate it in a way by building a garden structure that brings the history of Hawaii to the site.
And I guess anybody in any part of the country could use this same concept with a small building on their property. It doesn't have to look exactly like the architecture.
No, in fact, it shouldn't, in my opinion. I think the garden structure should be something different, and if you want to be part of the history, like you could be in Georgia and have a little log cabin around the corner in your backyard so you don't necessarily see it from the house. But then when you get there, it has a very romantic notion, and it gives you a sense of place, and it gives you a sense of time.
Hutton, you impress me as a man with a number of skills and abilities. Any pearls of wisdom you can share with our viewers?
Sure, I'll make an attempt. One of the things I feel strongly about is that homes and gardens should not face the street. They should turn within. Your life is lived privately in a home. You're there to share your time with your family and enjoy your home life. So why spend a lot of energy towards the street? Create a sense of mystery by the entry, but then use your energy inside the environment, and it creates a sense of privacy and a sense of being at home.
Don't spend all your resources trying to impress people on the road. Turn it inward.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. And thank you so much for sharing your time and all these ideas. I really learned a lot.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you, Richard.
Thank you.
And aloha.
Each week we travel the country north to south, east to west, visiting some of the most exciting gardens, as well as talking to industry horticulturalists about design principles, new plants, and also how you can be most successful with your home gardens. We also love answering your gardening questions, so visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com.
These moments of beauty and relaxation are brought to you by Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs. Our goal is to leave you free to just enjoy your garden. Proven Winners Flowering Shrubs can be found at local garden centers across the country.
Power Planters garden drill augers are designed to help you tackle the digging jobs in your garden or yard. Dig through hard soil to assist in planting trees, shrubs, and annuals. Power Planters heavy-duty augers, made for professional landscapers and home gardeners alike.
DRAM has been providing gardeners with professional equipment for over 80 years. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
We covered a lot of ground today. We learned how to create mystery at the entrance and in the entire garden. We learned how to accentuate the positive and minimize the negative aspects of our yard. We learned the importance of pocket gardens and how to create a destination with an element of regional or historical significance. That's a lot. If you missed anything or have any questions, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.tv. Even if you're a master gardener, there's always something new to learn. So join us next time as we garden smart.